What's up, bro? We finally did it. How long have we been saying that we're going to do a podcast, or at least do one together?
I know. It's like 3 to 4 years,
right,
in the making of saying that we would do it.
Yeah.
Well, you would do it, but
we were gonna do it at one point.
Yeah, but I'm sitting here, so it counts.
True, absolutely.
By the way, disclaimer: I anytime we shoot a video, I happen to have like a black eye. So for next time, I'll make sure. He
literally came in through the door, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And he's like, "Bro, I don't know. Like somebody hit me." The last time we actually did a reel, he like had all these cupping marks because I do therapy too, and then like on top of his black eye, and then he just looks so crazy. Like he looked like he was an MMA fighter, and he just does jiu-jitsu.
I don't get punched in the face. Anyways, Marcelo Bruzzo, black belt under Roberto Cyborg Abreu out of Fight Sports Miami HQ. I've been training jiu-jitsu for this is gonna be my 10th year. Wow, whole decade.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Long time.
We met when you were a blue belt, right?
So I was a blue belt, and I think like maybe a month later I got my purple belt.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's when you broke my knee.
I didn't break your knee. We happened to roll that day, and
I'm just kidding. You didn't break my knee.
I didn't break your knee. I didn't even attack legs back then.
No, I was attacking your leg. Yeah. I got him in a heel hook. That's really what happened, people. Yeah. And he got upset and just laid it on me.
Didn't get upset. Maybe a little bit. Back then, everybody was a target, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it happens. We were all rolling. I think we were both going to Worlds that year. I know I did. Did you go to Worlds that year?
We did.
Right.
We did.
I got 3rd place.
I ended up not going. I had to cancel it because of work.
Crazy.
But we were training for Worlds.
One of the hardest workers I know, by the way.
Something like that.
Yes, he's always working. Consistently always working.
My work phone, no.
With 2 phones, by the way. The only guy that I know that has 2 phones. But 10 years of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Yep. And then we opened up White Lion Promotion 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. And was it the first event that you did?
Event number 1.
Event number 1. Yeah. We started at a small gym. I remember I only sold 40 tickets. I had my kid on the side selling water bottles.
But it was slammed.
It was slammed because it was like
super tiny.
It was super tiny, and we had a lot of fighters and plus coaches and all of that. So 40 spectators, but like
another 40 coaches. Yeah. And buddies.
Crazy. So technically like 100 people, right?
Yeah.
And buddies.
You know the jiu-jitsu world. They tell you one coach, but then an entourage shows up.
Yeah, that does not happen now in my events.
Not anymore.
Never again.
But I mean, you mentioned that, and it's crazy to think from White Lion 1 to just competing at White Lion 10. Just seeing the evolution of the event is it's cool. Not just you yourself and the work that you've been putting into it, but for local grapplers in the scene, the kind of attention that you get, that you've been receiving from different sponsors, different companies that are out there that are big in the jiu-jitsu scene, to be able to give South Florida that love, I think means a lot to us. And it's people will just look at it, it's just another event, but I've been fortunate to compete in it twice. I've been invited twice, and both times I didn't walk away with the cash prize, but I still walk away with a great learning experience. I think overall, as an athlete, if you wanna become better, you have to go out there and you have to perform, compete.
I always say that too. Like the key to getting better at competition is competition. Yeah. Like you're not going to get better by just being at the gym and just not, like, you really have to go out there.
I use that analogy with everybody. I meet a lot of white belts, blue belts, brown belts, purple belts that don't compete or are afraid to compete. And the best example that I use is owning a gun, right? How are you going to know if you're a good shot if you don't take it to the gun range?
Exactly.
Well, competition's a gun range, and you know what you need to work on. Whether if you win or you lose, it's still a learning experience. Even when you win, it's a learning experience.
For sure. Yep. So, I mean, speaking of that, like from the first event that you ever did to even 10 that we just did, your game has evolved completely.
Yeah,
it's a whole nother beast.
Yeah.
So the same way that you get to see my events kind of, you know, just come out on top, I see the same way your game is completely changed.
Yeah,
every single time.
I had just joined Fight Sports like 8 months before your event.
Prior to White Lion 1?
I think, no, it's like a year. I think it was like a year before.
So White Lion 1 was May 15th, 2021.
Yeah, so about 11 months. And then, yeah, because I joined Fight Sports June of 2020.
Okay.
So, yeah, I hadn't even been
during COVID?
Yeah.
During COVID. It's crazy. I joined MMA Masters, which is my team, August of 2020.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah. We had both switched gyms. We were going through the same thing.
We're like, we love our gym. I fucking love it here.
That's good. I mean, shit.
Yeah,
I remember
shout outs to my gym. Shout outs to my coach, Valverde, the best in the world.
Hey, look, I mean, at the
better than yours. No, just kidding. Both of our coaches are completely world championships, actually.
Yeah.
They're both like super credited in different ways. He's the man for sure. For me, like, I just think he's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And then you love Cyborg. So.
I mean, it's crazy to think that I received my black belt under him. When I first got into jiu-jitsu in a small boxing gym in Boca. One of the first things I asked my professor, I started training 6 weeks later. I did my first competition and I just got hooked, right?
Yeah.
So immediately I just want to become the best.
How did you get to jiu-jitsu? Like, what brought you there?
So I was in college and I played sports my entire life. Was always doing something, and once college hit, I decided that I was going to have a better shot at life as a student than as an athlete. So I put kind of all the athletic stuff to the side and really focused just on school, right? Yeah. Developing a skill set, earning a college degree, and just being the best version that I could be and know what I wanted to do.
I know that you came from Carlson Gracie. Did you start in Carlson Gracie as a white belt?
No, I did not. So during college, when I just felt like I had a huge void that I needed to fill. Yeah. I'd put on a bunch of weight, and I needed to do something. Yeah. So one day I drove by this gym down the street from ATT Coconut Creek called Strike Gym. And they offered boxing, Muay Thai, MMA classes, jiu-jitsu classes. And I joined for boxing. Day one, I show up, I just throw up in the bathroom 30 minutes into the class. I was like, okay, like this is cool. This is what I want to do. And my buddy that I joined with loved jiu-jitsu. Like, he was all about the UFC. He trained Muay Thai. Like, he was just hooked. And he was like, hey, let's go try a jiu-jitsu class. And I just wasn't a fan of it. I was like, I'm not going to go hug with these dudes on the floor.
Is your friend still doing jiu-jitsu?
No, he is not. We talk about it all the time.
That happens a lot, bro. It happens. The people who actually introduced me to jiu-jitsu, some of them don't even compete anymore.
Yeah, no.
Or are doing jiu-jitsu at all. Like, life, they have a kid, they get married, like, new job. Like, they're just... And then here you are as a black belt.
I had actually two people influence me into it. So I had my buddy that I joined the gym with, and then I had an employee at the time. So I was a store manager, and one of my employees, he was a blue belt. And he would always tell me, oh, that boxing shit, I'll take you to the ground. You can't throw punches on your back, and I'll just submit you. So actually, like, month one of training jiu-jitsu, my employee came out and just whooped my ass every which way. That won't happen now, though. But
yeah.
No, it's...
What's his name?
Jose Gomez.
Jose Gomez.
Hochi. Nah, it was definitely fun to be able to have something in common with somebody that I saw every day. So it's something that till this day is one of my best friends. And,
that's awesome.
And we share not just the love for jiu-jitsu, but bringing up those memories of, you know, training as white belt, me as a white belt, him as a blue belt. My other friend, Robert, we were doing the boxing class, and one day he just said, hey, let's try a jiu-jitsu class. Yeah. And I had a huge problem with it because it was at the same time as jiu-jitsu, as boxing.
Right.
So I was like, no, man, can't miss boxing. Like, I love this shit. I'm hooked.
Yeah.
And he's like, come on, I joined this gym for you. Like, the least you could do is just try it out with me. So I did. And my first instructor, Ricardo Ento, out of Team Conde. Like, he was giving classes at the time at the gym. He was about 5'8", 5'9", 165.
Smaller guy compared to you. Bruzzo, if you don't know Bruzzo personally.
Well, but back then, I was 6'1", 245.
He's a tall guy.
6'1", 245. And
holy shit. I mean, like, you're what, 205 now, right? Like
cutting down to 205. Yes.
It's like 205, still 6'1"?
6'1", yes.
6'1", still 6'1".
Yeah. And, I mean, I was just lifting weights every day, so I was just very explosive, having a football background, really good base.
10 years ago, right?
10 years ago, yeah.
So you were in your 20s?
In my 20s.
21?
23.
23.
Yeah. And
that's a good age.
This guy just, my instructor back then, Ricardo, just, I think every submission under, like, the Jiu-Jitsu submission book was exercised on me that day. I mean, he just tapped me out every which way.
That's the beauty. But that's the beauty of rolling with white belts too, because you get to like work.
Yeah, and it's crazy. It's crazy because, again, I started with him 6 weeks later. He pushes me to compete at Naga. I had like 10 fights that day.
Yeah.
I ended up getting like 4 gold medals. I won every match. Like, the competitor in me just came out, and it was just like, for me, jiu-jitsu at that point just became part of my life.
How long were you doing jiu-jitsu that you did your first competition?
6 weeks.
Really?
Yeah, 6
So
weeks.
I did mines in 3 months.
Okay.
And including my coach, I remember seeing his face when I told him, I signed up to like a new breed or something.
Yeah.
And he was like...
Yeah, I mean...
I was just... I don't know if like you get so excited, you're like, yeah, I want to do it, and it was... I really didn't know much.
The thing about me was, the reason why jiu-jitsu worked so well for me was because I was always part of team sports, but I never enjoyed team sports.
Right.
Like, I just don't enjoy working as a team because my success depends on somebody else. Whereas I'm more of just, my individual work should speak for my performance. And that's, like wrestling, for example. It's individual. Now, there's a team aspect to it, but your performance on that mat that day depends on you.
Right.
And jiu-jitsu just brought that out. Like, that day at Naga, I remember day one, I had slimmed down about 30 pounds in 6 weeks.
Damn.
And I was in phenomenal shape. And my instructor at that time, he's like, listen, there's a local competition. Let's go try you out. Let's see how you do, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, so he encouraged you.
He encouraged me.
Wow.
He was the one that pushed me to do it.
I was literally like, I signed up. And they were like, what?
No. He pushed me to do it. Like, he was big on like the local tournaments.
Yeah.
We were a small school. We didn't have the credibility to fight at IBJJF.
Right.
At the time. So we just would go out to these local competitions, and Naga was like a big deal for us. So, like I said, 10 fights that day, it was badass. And then, like, 6 months later, a couple months later, I actually dislocated his shoulder and broke his collarbone training. Going for an arm bar, he was in turtle, I fished the arm. I was a white belt. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was just trying to...
I'm not shocked, bro. Here you go hurting somebody else. Like...
No.
I was just kidding. He's actually a pretty good role. He's a big boy. Like...
Hey, that's what it was. His shoulder got trapped under him as he was trying to roll.
It happens.
And just heard the crack, but...
I think injury in particular in jiu-jitsu is so common.
Yeah.
It could be my fault or your fault, or it's literally like, it's just gonna happen. Like, we're practicing to break limbs.
Yeah.
This is what you're signing up for. That's why you sign a waiver when you go to a gym, hopefully.
One of my favorite instructors in the world today, Raymond Fundora, Ceviche. He says it all the time.
We love ceviche here.
We do.
We really do. We really love ceviche.
He says it all the time. If you're here you're gonna get hurt. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, go somewhere else. Go try bowling.
Legit.
Go try ping pong. Right?
Yeah.
And
he's so raw, like, in the sense of like anything that he says, it's so like straightforward, almost like me. We're very like straightforward with it, which is what makes him so special. And he's been in the game for so long.
The OG leg locker Miami.
Yes. The OG of Miami. Like, if you're in Miami, you know who Ray is. Yeah. So shout outs to Ray.
Yeah.
Definitely. Freedom Fighters.
Freedom Fighters MMA. Going back to kind of the jiu-jitsu journey. So I ended up getting promoted in Miami, and commute from Boca to Miami was about an hour and a half. So I just moved out of home and moved to Miami, and found a local gym, Carlos and Gracie, Miami. Got my blue belt there all the way to brown belt. And then during COVID, as everything shut down, I ended up moving to downtown. And the drive was, with traffic. Yeah, it was a long drive. An hour and a half.
I mean, Miami's traffic is crazy.
Right? So the times didn't work out. And I was always just a fan of Cyborg. I mean, that was one of the first videos I ever watched. Anything jiu-jitsu related, it was Cyborg doing tornado guards at Grappler Quest. I mean, he was just launching people. And I thought it was so cool for somebody that size.
That big to do that.
To be that flexible, that strong, that quick. I was always a fan. Yeah. So the opportunity came up. I had Fight Sports less than 10 minutes away from my house, and I joined, and day one was just such a humbling experience. Coming in as a brown belt. I remember that day. Yeah, I remember I called you right after that. Yeah. Being a brown belt and showing up to a gym and just being humbled by all the blue belts that were there that day, all the purple belts that were there that day.
That's such a great experience. Yeah. I mean, literally in this game, you can't really have ego like that.
Yep.
You got to really take on a loss or having a lower belt, just be amazing.
Yeah.
And you're just like, bro, thanks for the role,
I mean, I had competed in like worlds and things like that before.
Right.
In previous schools, and I never got out of the first round. Like, it was just first match, I would lose. I was the tomato can of the bracket, right?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's all right. My first 6 months at Fight Sports, I signed up for Worlds. So remember, during COVID, they ended up doing it in Orlando?
Yes, so I remember that.
So I got second place.
For gi. I remember that.
For gi. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So to go from never getting out of the first round to winning 3 fights, 2 by submission, 1 by points, and then getting to the final.
That's a high.
Yeah, I mean, you just know when you're in the right place.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? And like just the people that you roll with, everybody that is in the gym they're all there for a purpose. It's not, there's gyms that are out there where they're hobby gyms. And that's okay. Like,
yeah, 100%.
I'm all for you identifying.
There's always, there's always not everybody is a competitor in jiu-jitsu.
Right.
Some people are just parents who are getting into it. Some people start in their 40s. Some people are just hobbyists. Some people are just really good in the gym. I find that a lot. Like, I'll go to different gyms and I'll find like really good people, but they're just like, I'm not gonna compete.
Which I think is crazy.
And I'm like, you're so good. Yeah. I've also had, obviously, like in White Lion, I see everybody in Miami, mostly everybody. Mm-hmm. And I've seen people who I'm just like, bro, you're so good, like in the gym, and they hit my stage, and I'm like, what happened?
They just freeze under the lights.
Yeah, and it's like I hear back, like it's such a big stage. Like, I wasn't ready for it. I'm gonna come back, or like I don't know if competition is for me. My anxiety gets me, like. And I get it. Like, we all get the nervousness when we compete. I think everybody just does it differently.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, how's your anxiety when you go up on stage? At least, how was it on White Lion 10?
No. Like, if you look at, I think I shocked a lot of people that day from my own gym.
Yeah.
Because at the gym, I don't want to say slack off, because obviously I go in with the idea that I need to improve. Like, I always go through like a month. This is what I want to focus on. This is what I need to focus on to better my game.
Yeah.
And I just, I was the nail a lot during the last 8 weeks, right? I was putting myself in bad positions and trying to fight a game that I normally don't fight. Especially, submission only is completely different than what I'm used to. I'm more of a sport points-based style tournament. Yeah. IBJJF is all points, right?
Yes.
So a lot of times in submission only, you can put yourself in bad positions to gain a good position or even a submission.
It's a bait.
Right. You're baiting people, but you're still giving up. In a IBJJF, you'd be giving up points.
Correct.
And then what if you go for that risk and you don't get it? Then you're not only are you in a bad position, but you're also down on points.
Yeah, it's the game.
Right. So for me, it's not like I actually perform better on stage. I just go to a different place mentally.
Yeah.
I fought a game opponent on your last event that, in all honesty, on paper, you should have probably submitted me within 45 seconds. Right? And that wasn't the case.
I think you lasted almost 8 minutes at the end.
We went the full 8.
You went the full 8. That's right. He never submitted you.
Right, we tied.
You went the full 8, and then it was disqualification.
Right. I mean,
he went to overtime.
He feels actually, we're buddies, and he's like, hashtag Usain Bolt because I just ran the whole match, but it was part of the strategy. Part of the strategy was to ice him and just EQ him and get him out.
Right, and it was smart.
Yeah, and the big thing for me is, and we were training partners for 3 years, and he would always get the better of the exchanges on the legs, on the no-gi, right?
Right.
And I'm just a gi fighter, right? But
that's actually what I call him.
Going into the no-gi world, I know that there's a big push, especially nowadays, with attacking legs and all these Danaher fanboys that are into the legs, all that.
The entries and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
And for me, it's if I'm able to stop them entering the legs, then I expose a real jiu-jitsu. Right.
You go straight to technique.
That's it.
Straight to the basics.
Let's see what you have when you can't get the legs.
Yeah, I mean, when you pass the legs, it's a whole nother ballpark.
Right. So
especially being a heavier competitor.
Yeah.
Because I am the heavier competitor as women. I'm not the lighter girl. I'm always the bigger one. So I mean, I get on that side control.
They just think you're gonna go on the side.
Yeah.
Oh, you just go on side control and you smash me and you submit me with an Americana, right? Yeah. That's kind of like the jiu-jitsu coin phrase for bigger people. Yeah. Well, I mean, you still have to pass guard. You still have to get there, right?
Correct.
I mean, maybe you should work your defense if that's what big people are doing to you.
Right.
I think it's just
they're bullying
dumb.
On the big people.
Yeah. Maybe you should put on some size and then see if it works.
Yeah, let's see.
No, but talking a little bit about just what competition is and like how I deal with it.
Yeah.
As I mentioned, I think I perform better when the lights are on than behind closed doors. Because I know that behind closed doors at the gym, there's no ego. I tap and I reset positions.
Correct.
In a competition,
or like even give up positions just to get into that uncomfortable situation.
Right.
I do that a lot.
Well, but that's a new mindset that being at Fight Sports, I learned it, and meeting a lot of top level competitors that train there today. That's their mindset, and people say you don't have to train with champions to be a champion. That's the most bullshit excuse in the world. You want to be a champion, you have to train with high-level competitors.
100%.
And if you don't, then you have to be a high-level competitor. You don't just become a high-level competitor.
I've even met high-level competitors that don't have training partners. And you see kind of their game, I don't want to say like slip, but sometimes they'll tell you, they'll be like, I need to find like...
Right.
Somebody at my level.
Right. They need to cross train. They need to go to different gyms. They need you need to go fight Matt Lyons at other gyms. It's needed in your game to develop, right?
Correct.
So for me, just for a long time, I always treated every role, whether if it was practice, whether if it was open mat, whether if it was whatever, that wasn't competition. I always approached it as if it was a competition role. And my game was just so stagnant for such a long time. Like you look at my fights from
you plateau.
Oh yeah, from blue belt to brown belt.
You felt like a plateau.
I don't believe I developed. I mean I had a really good lasso game, and
sometimes when you're in there, you don't even realize it.
Right.
So you get humbled, and you're like, hold up, let me look back.
You don't, because you're so good at that one game that you have,
right?
That a lot of people at the gym that you train with all the time, and we weren't allowed to cross train. We weren't allowed to go to other gyms. So I literally fought the same training partners every day. So I know their game, they know my game.
And now you're allowed to cross train. At Fight Sports, they let you cross train.
Cyborg's very, we have a phenomenal room.
Yeah.
I don't have a need to cross train.
Right.
But I cross train just out of times. Sometimes
you'll go to Freedom Fighters.
Yeah, like I go to Freedom Fighters Friday night, the best open mat on Friday nights that you can go to. I mean, it's 40, 50, 60 deep sometimes.
Wow.
I mean, Gray's got a phenomenal program that he runs. There's great, you get some great rolls in with MMA fighters.
It's hot in there too, so you get such a sweat.
If I told you kind of the weight variance from going in to leaving, it's nuts. Like sometimes it's 8 to 10 pounds. it's significant drop. You walk out of there you need to have that gallon ready to go because you sweat that much. But again, going back to what the whole cross train thing, I think it's needed, right?
Yeah.
At Fight Sports, Cyborg does a great job of bringing people in. Like we get a lot of high level competitors whenever there's local tournaments.
Even seminars too. You guys have a lot of seminars over there. They just had Damon Maya.
Yeah. I mean, for me.
Did I say his name right? Is it Maya?
Yeah.
Maya, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was going to say my bad.
No, you got it.
Okay.
No, for me, I like what I love the most about Fight Sports is that every day feels like a seminar. I mean, you get Cyborg teaching you different positions every day and just how meticulous he is. Yeah. You get Roosevelt Souza, who's another high-level competitor that teaches there.
He went to ADCC.
Yeah. He went to ADCC. Third place on his first ADCC.
He lost to
Gordon
Ryan.
Yeah, so he lost to Gordon, but I mean that was.
I mean, to even be at that level, despite that he lost, just to be there, it's the top of the top.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah. And it's his first ADCC too.
I remember.
Yeah.
He had done that. He had done White Lion that year.
Yeah.
I remember he did a tag team with us, and
Fight Sports.
I remember that when he came in, I would look up and I'm like, oh my god, he was so big. Like I was like, I looked at the other brackets and I was like, oh my god, he was huge.
Yeah.
So huge.
Yeah. One of I like to say he's one of my main training partners.
Yeah. But he's bigger than you though, right?
Oh yeah, he's like 6'4", 265.
There you go.
Just a humbling.
Yeah, I remember we did his weighs. We weighed him in that day, and he was like 275 that day.
Yeah, going into ADCC, he was 260 to 270.
Yeah, our weighing guy was like, "What puta?" Like, like this nigga's huge.
He's a big boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that shout out to Misumi Buffet up in North Miami. We were hitting that place up like every weekend for him to put on weight. Like we destroyed. They would see us.
What is that, sushi?
It's an all-you-can-eat buffet.
Oh.
They do sushi, hibachi, hot plates, everything.
All right, chill. They're not a sponsor.
It's the best. It's the best buffet.
You can sponsor us though.
I mean, I love food. You know me.
Yeah, man.
If you ever need a recommendation for food, you hit me up.
Yeah.
Whatever city. But we would go. I mean, the little chinitos would see us walk in, and they would freak out because they knew we were gonna put a hole in their kitchen.
Yeah.
Like.
So what's next for you?
So, I hear there's another local tournament coming up, August 13th.
That's right.
White Lion 11.
11.
Notice
you keep hitting the 1.
Yeah.
Then White Lion 1, White Lion 10, 1-0, White Lion 11, 1-1.
You know, my number
Synchronize.
is not, as corny as it sounds, my numbers are 1 and 10.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Third time's the charm?
Yeah, hey, look.
I actually haven't told anybody, but I have a really big surprise for 205 bracket.
Okay.
That until I get it and we lock it down and seal it, we will announce it.
Let's go. I'm ready. Yep. But yeah, no, I'm excited to compete. I'm making the cut to 205. I've been focusing the last 4 months on just putting on size.
Yeah.
Feeling good. I feel like I've been on these crash diets for so long, so it was good to kind of change things up. Got under a really good program with a good trainer.
Yeah.
Got my eating down right. Adding in the right training schedule and adding in the right lifting schedule. So I'm really focused on no-gi right now. My personal goal within Jiu-Jitsu is to become the first Argentinian to make it to ADCC. So I'll be competing in both Brazilian the Brazilian qualifiers for ADCC next year. I hope I just compete on the first one. I think
our stage is perfect for that, to be honest.
That's why I'm 6-week turnaround. I'm jumping right back in. Like I don't.
Yeah.
I've never been afraid to compete.
Yeah.
It's just the timing and work has always gotten in the way. And I'm very fortunate today to where I have these opportunities to be able to jump in and still get my training done. So
definitely.
I wanna finally win the White Lion tournament, the prize. Here coming up August 13th, regardless of who's in front of me, I'm ready to step in, go in. World's No-Gi is another tournament that I have my eye on.
December 9th, Vegas.
and going in the adult bracket. So I fought the.
You did Masters last year?
No.
Did you do it last year too?
No, I didn't do last year.
You did it the year before.
We went. I coached you in your corner.
Yeah, go figure.
Yeah. That
was good times. Good times.
Yeah, it was my first time competing.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't my first time. First time in a while competing no-gi worlds, and I went in and as a brown belt. First year that heel hooks were allowed, so I knew mentally what to expect. Yeah. Everybody was just going to attack the feet. Fought a game opponent my first match. It was, I think till this day, it was one of the most technical matches I've fought.
What's his name again?
Couldn't tell you.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, he was tough. I mean,
yeah.
Big guy trying to get under you, strong.
Yeah, technique.
Yeah, a lot
strong and technique. Because usually people who are bigger, it's just strong and just brutal and just.
Yeah. So he kept trying to get under me, and then I ended up winning on a ref decision for actually almost passing multiple times.
Okay.
And then had a nice little experience with Jacob Couch.
That's right.
In my defense, I was his longest match that year.
That's good.
This is like 47 seconds that he submitted me with a heel hook. But
he's super good.
That year, I was his longest match. It was like 4-minute match time total.
I was cheering for you, bro. Like 100%, obviously, because I've known him for like ever. You know, I don't know Mr. Couch. Yeah. But I remember when he went up against him.
Yeah, it was cool. Not doing no-gi, not really I don't want to say I didn't take it serious, but not being at that level with those guys, but being able to go out there and just test the waters.
Yeah.
I've been working really hard on my wrestling. I've been working really hard on just.
You're definitely a whole different athlete.
Yeah.
Looking back on that couch match, I remember. Did he leg lock you?
Yeah, he did.
I remember that. He leg locked you.
He did. False reap into a freaking heel hook and just.
I'll tell you, I mean.
I picked him up with my leg and he still had. I'm like, this kid is bananas.
I know. I was like, look at this guy. Yeah. But definitely, you are a different athlete now. Oh, so 100%. Had you run that, and I'm sure he is too. He's like on another level right now. Yeah. But obviously, it would be a different match this time around. Yeah. If he tried to play that game.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I don't. Names don't scare me.
No, at all.
And I'm not sitting here saying, I'm calling out matches or anything because I'm not that. We're
calling you out, Couch. No,
I'm not at that level. I'm not at that level. I don't have like a major tournament.
No, we're kidding.
I'm just,
we're kidding.
Kind of building myself up.
For sure.
I've always loved to compete. I think it's essential for your success in jiu-jitsu to compete, get out there, expose yourself, find the holes in your game, see where you're good at, see where you're not good. And just excited about what's left of this year. My two goals are White Lion and Worlds. And then next year,
ADCC.
I'm not going to say I hope. I'm going to. I'm going to be the first Argentina to make it to ADCC.
Let's go.
I'm going to win the first qualifier in Brazil, and then the second one I'll be in one of the beaches over in Brazil hanging out.
Eating acai.
No, I can't eat acai. I'm like allergic to it.
Oh, are you?
No, I wouldn't say allergic. I just have.
Don't you sell acai?
I do. Fight Sports Cafe. We best acai in the world. But
yes, that's funny.
I try it through my customers. They tell me how good it is.
All right, good.
Yeah.
I had no idea you were allergic.
I had a bad experience.
Okay.
Like 8 years ago. I don't know if it's the taste or what, but
What happened? You turned purple?
No, I didn't.
Have you ever seen Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory? Yes. Were you that blueberry?
No, I was not that blueberry. But I tried. So I tried acai like 2 months ago, and I'm like, it's been like 8 years. I should be over this. I literally took one spoonful. 15 minutes later, I was barfing in the bathroom.
Yeah,
it's mental.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, I think we're done for today. All right. Yeah. Anything else you want to say?
No. Just like thank you for having me on the podcast. I think it's I hope this is first of many to come.
Yes, it is.
I know that you're probably one of the most hated people right now because of how some of the decisions in your competitions go, but ultimately, we're here to have fun.
Yeah.
We all know each other. It's Miami.
100%. I mean, decisions are decisions. With that being said,
don't leave it in the hands of the judges.
Don't leave it to the hands of the judges and get that submission. We are submission grappling only. Yeah. There's no points. Change your game. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and come back. Like, whether you hate me or love me, it doesn't matter. Come back. Our stage is always open to everybody, and like, you guys have this amazing event, and not because it's mine, it's just because I worked so hard for it, you know, to get to the point where it's at. I will just say, do it. Just come back and like compete.
I will say though, the best change you probably had was getting rid of EBI overtime.
Thank you.
Because if you look at like your first couple events, you saw competitors just getting demolished during the regular time, and then once they would get to OT, all they practiced for 8 weeks was back attacks and arm bars, right?
Yes.
So I just
I mean, we got
overtime rules.
You know, I like EBI overtime rules. I've always liked it.
Jiu-jitsu.
And it got to a point where I was like, you know, it's time to switch it up because of situations like this. I guess everybody kind of just started doing the same. Not everybody. There was a lot of people that were putting in that work. And I'm like, all right, everybody's kind of started complaining. Oh, we should switch EBI. I do listen to every time somebody complains. And we did the judge's decision. With no overtime, just basically.
I would even say if you don't submit, both of you lose. That's an L.
That's a good one too. I always listened. Yeah, I mean, maybe we just don't even take it to the judge's decision and it's just done. I don't know. Maybe I might switch it up again because that's what I do.
No.
Yeah.
Or you were both really good.
You're not getting invited back.
Or you're both really good.
No, there's some. I mean, Miami's jiu-jitsu is definitely. I don't know what the rest of the country thinks about us, but we're pretty much game. Like, we really are good down here.
We got some schools that are
really good.
Yeah.
Really
underrated.
good.
A lot of underrated schools.
Yeah. I do consider us to be a pro grappling event. Like, we are the creme of the top. Did I say that right? The creme of the creme? Creme of the
whatever floats your boat. But no,
you get what I'm saying.
I get what you're saying.
The cherry on top.
And that's what I think makes White Line unique.
Yes.
You definitely
the matchmaking.
If you treat it that way, it's gonna maybe it might not be there, but every time it's just gonna get closer.
And we got a lot of people registering, and we appreciate that, but we're very selective on who we pick. So White Lion 11 205 bracket.
Let's go.
Maybe the champ. We'll see.
We'll find it out right here.
For sure. All right, bro. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.